Hello once again, and we're going to be talking about CPU upgrades. If you want to upgrade your CPU, you should know what socket your motherboard is. Obviously there's two suppliers of CPUs, which are Intel and AMD, and if you definitely should know that AMD processors don't work with Intel motherboards and vice versa. That's something you should know. And what we're going to do, we're going to have a look inside this computer. Alright, we're inside the computer, having a look at the motherboard here, as you can see. This is an Asus M5A97LE R2.0, and this is a reasonably priced motherboard. I'd say probably in the £50 mark, which is a reasonable priced motherboard. But the good thing about this motherboard is it's an AM3 plus socket, meaning it can take the big FX CPUs. Well, it can basically take any CPU on the AMD range, except for I think it's the A spec CPUs, which for a special motherboard obviously can't take that, but it can take a whole different range of motherboard CPUs in this. So this is running, I think it's just a dual core processor. I don't know what the model is, but it's not an FX or nothing like that. It's one of the cheaper AMD range rather, sorry. And obviously it's got a cooler here, which is always important. You've got to have a cooler, but this ain't an AMD cooler. I had to buy that separately. But if you do get a processor, always comes with its cooler. It's cooler that it has to have with the CPU, so you'll always get that. But as I say, this is an AM3 Plus, and it can take the FX. I mean, I've got another motherboard exactly the same as this in another PC, and it's running an FX 8350, so it runs it no problem. Also, if you do upgrade your processor, you might have to upgrade your power supply unit, because once I had a 8-core processor in another PC, which I brought, came with a cheap power supply unit, and eventually it blew up. So make sure you do have a good power supply unit to run a bigger processor if you do decide to upgrade. Basically, you also got to know your sockets. Always make sure you know the sockets. If you buy one, look what socket it is, and if it's AM3 Plus, you can go for mainly any AMD processor. Same with Intel. I don't know much about Intel processors that much, but always do check the motherboard, what socket it is with the processor you're going to buy. AMDs I'd say they're a lot easier to know than Intel, but if you've owned Intel, you probably know it inside out anyway, which I don't know a lot about Intel. I have had the Intel processor computers in the time, but never built one. But there, just easy. That's what you need to know, really. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Till next time, and goodbye.